Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another backstage interview from the Metals Investor Forum. I'm joined today by John Mirko of Rokmaster Resources. It's a newer company to the Maven portfolio, and I think therefore a newer company to the Metals Investor Forum audience as well. So you may or may not have seen John's presentation. Rokmaster has a project near Revelstoke in southeastern BC. And I mean, why don't you start us with a little bit of the backstory here, John? You managed to pick up an asset a few years ago that had 2 million ounces of gold in a readily accessible part of BC. Take us through the backstory just a little bit to set the scene.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Gwen. Yes, we got an option on this property in 2019, just before the gold market started to pick up again after its long descent from 213. Our company, Rokmaster, has a large, quite pregnant zinc project, which might come into play in the future here shortly. But in the meantime, we wanted to focus on the gold. I'd already been on this project before when I was a younger lad in 1976 with Mark Rebliati for South African Goldfields. So I was aware of it for a long time and had walked it myself. And the main area that I walked was what the old timers had trenched, went for a couple of kilometers. So blue sky just seemed to be tremendous on this project. I always knew it had metallurgical issues, but I was just basically that, if you can imagine in 1976, a metallurgical issue isn't the same as it is today. We thought, well, let's find more ounces. And then if we need to buy expensive stuff, we can spread it across that. And away we went and embarked on an option with a private Chinese owned company who had ended up owning this project 100% because of their equity participation in a TSX junior company, to the degree they own 90% of it.
Right. So I mean, let's briefly touch on the metallurgy. That certainly is the thing that has dogged this project over the years.
For sure.
It's got the other things that you want, right? It's got scale already, potential for a lot more scale, and it's got grade, so it looks fantastic. But metallurgy has always been the thing that people say about Revel Ridge. But that's a manageable task with today's technology.
It is. It is.
So having addressed that will forever be part of the mine planning thing, but it does certainly look like it's possible to extract the gold in a reasonable way. Let's talk about scale. So describe the geology here, describe where the gold sits. And then to me, the reason I like this story so much is it's ridiculously continuous. It's this sort of sheet of mineralization that just seems to keep going. And so for me, the upside here is quite exciting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's focus on that. So when you, like I said before, when you walk up this mountain, hand trenches were what exposed it. There is no real outcrop of this zone. And this zone is a large reverse thrust fault that runs through the area for approximately 8 or 9 kilometers that we can tell so far. Orogenic type of gold system is in that feature. So that's a structural feature. It's very planar, this deformation zone. And it looks like it's kind of taken a lot of sulfides and squished it together. And we've got this sheet of mineralization. It's of course, if you go up there and take a look, the place to take a look is underground. The old timers went underground. British Petroleum or BP Selco extended this zone with Ross Beatty, Pan American, and Equinox, and various people extended underground workings for 1.5 kilometers on the zone, and they drifted on the zone. They put a lot of crosscuts in so you can go off to the side and drill under it and above it, and that's what we're doing now. But we're only doing that in that 1,300 meter stretch that has these crosscuts. That's it. We haven't stepped out anywhere onto this 8 or 9 kilometer zone, although we have done some work in the summer where we had Mark Rebliati's teammate Jim Oliver up on site doing surface mapping and prospecting last summer. We've identified some showings which are almost identical mineralogy wise with what we're drilling now, up to 5 and 6 kilometers away. So we're going to step out mostly to the north There's a couple of drill holes into a zinc zone parallel to this gold zone, but of course it went through that and hit some gold. So we're going to go back to that area. And that's already a 400-meter step out. So right away, we can start knocking off some of that gold zone and zinc zone on the surface. We've got an application in for 56 drill pads right now with the BC government out of their Cranbrook office, and that's moving ahead, believe it or not. So, we're going to go out there in the summer and we're going to start stepping out in big sort of prospect type situation here. And I guess from what, like you say, this thing is remarkably continuous. So you can imagine if we start hitting in 1,000-meter step outs, what somebody could do with a pencil on a piece of paper. So that's the plan.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I mean, it makes the order of operations here, just so people can be aware of the news flow. Like you say, right now you're using those crosscuts, using that underground development to try and push it down, right? Like you can just drill below where it is. The resource, think of a sheet of cardboard inside a hill, and it only goes down so far, and you're just, almost doing the same dip extent.
Very continuous.
Farther down. So
yeah. So we're now
potential to add ounces just from what you're doing now before you even get to the summer, which is sort of the exciting go along strike and see how far it goes.
For sure. So we've now extended that zone down quite a ways, and just back of the envelope, probably another 4 million tons type of thing. And we're on hole 34 right now. We've had some nice hits visually. We don't know what they're going to run, but we're in a happy position. Thankfully, we can see good, strong sulfide mineralization, and compared with other results in the past, we're comfortable to drill additional holes either beside that, above it, or below it based on the visual nature of those intersections. Away we go. So
away you go. So, I mean, I think this is a story that is set to build ounces as this gold market evolves over the next 1, 2, however many years we have. And your ongoing task is just to continue telling the story that the metallurgy isn't a problem, and then to add ounces. And I think that the valuation right now is pretty low relative to what you
Correct.
have, let alone what might be there.
Oh, absolutely. When it's a 2 million ounce gold equivalent already in pretty solid geology, it's not too much speculation there. And of course, we've addressed some of that with a PEA, which looked good. That was a good one. And we can, of course, optimize that in the future going forward, whether it's with more drill holes, more tonnage, or with more metallurgy. And we are in close to Revelstoke. It's an area we can work year round. And we enjoy that a lot. And especially with COVID, we can function there. We've got, one house with a surface crew, one house with the drillers, and seeing and keep our thumb on that. We're only using one drill, but it's high tech diamond drilling out of Smithers, and we're averaging about 90 meters a shift. So we can perform well with one drill and avoid complications with COVID. If we go to 2 drills, we'll likely reactivate the camp that we have there and use that. But going forward, it's just a question of assays is the big thing now.
Yes, you get to wait. I imagine the wait times are down a little bit. They're a little bit better than they were a month or 2 ago.
Well, last night I dropped off a load of samples, and the labs, I talked to the prep guy just to see, and they are getting their nose above water now.
That's good.
And they're getting caught up. So they're feeling a lot better.
A lot better than they were. Well, that's good to hear as well.
Until next month.
Yeah, right. Exactly. When all the winter core starts showing up. All right. Well, thanks for the little additional conversation here,
Okay.
John. And I look forward to touching base as those assays come in.
Okay. Thank you very much. And keep an eye on it, and take care. Thanks, Gwen.